Welcome to this interactive preview into the 2025, the year of new alliances, the big showdown of, what we call the confrontation with untruth, but also the bigger future here, the next 20 years that is beginning to unfold in 2025. My name is Jona Bryndis. Many of you know me. I've been around for a long time as a spiritual teacher, energy healer, and guide for many of you. And in this interactive forecast for 2025, I would like to invite your personal energies, your ways of seeing the world, seeing these spiritual processes that are determining the material processes. I would like to invite you to share your way of metabolizing it, of working with this within you. So in these past 9 days where we have been doing the deep dive into the, I called it the energy secrets of Christmas, the mysteries of the Holy Nights, but really what I'm doing there is the preparation for the spiritualization of the material, the big task for us collectively as humans. And as I'm inviting you, I am cueing this part in you that is supposed to develop, that is supposed to refine, ennoble, and now in 2025, especially to purify. Today is the 1st of January 2025, by asking you if you were journaling. So to give you a quick tip, basically, for these next years to come, I strongly, strongly recommend that you journal. And this journaling can be anything from just writing down the theme of the day, or perhaps tuning into your accomplishments of the day, checking on how your intentions of the day that you hopefully tune in to every morning before you start the day, how these evolved, how these manifested, and where you still need to refine your will, your ability to put your intentions into action. This sort of self-reflective and often sobering activity will be part of your self-responsible task here for these next 2 decades, guys. This is what you need to cut through the challenges. Nothing else really. To work with your inner thinking, your inner feeling, your inner perceiving, and the reality check thereof that allows you to refine this ability to discern between your own illusions, your own delusions, your wishes, your dreams, and your fantasies. And so with that, I want to ask you guys right now what it is that you, as spiritually awakened, as spiritual truth seekers, what you see for this next year. What are some of the things that you are now feeling as sort of the big themes for us to resolve. You can also formulate this as a question. Yeah, I have not predetermined how long we're going to work with this here today. Yeah, so if you have questions, then that can also be part of this inner spiritual impulse that you are working with. What are some of the themes that you feel are important for us moving into 2025? Yeah, not just for yourself, but also for us as a whole humanity. Who dares to break the ice to share?
This is going to sound hokey because I haven't pre-thought it, but I feel like the need to stay in my light and be a light, not like just to be a light in the community, to bring some brightness to the darkness.
Well, this is a very, very big thought, yeah, that you don't actually have to or can't really think through because it depends on what comes in. To be a beacon, to be a light, to perhaps bring more truth, to bring more wisdom into your community, Linda, is a wonderful intention. Now the question is, and I will ask this over and over again, not to criticize or to question what you're saying, but to make you more aware of why you want this. Why do you think you need to do this? Why do you feel you need to do this? What is it that you see as a problem there or as a need?
I think I feel the bombardment of, the news and the bad stories. And I really find that when I connect with this community and when I share some of those concerns, it's like I can tune into a higher radio station and it makes me feel better, right?
So you would like to share that with others? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what you mean?
Maybe primarily more for myself, but the side effect of that, I hope, will be that will come from me just by being me.
Mm-hmm. To bring more light. Yeah, I guess what you're saying is negativity. Yeah, to bring more positivity into negativity. Yeah, I think I can feel that too. Mm-hmm. What are some other themes or tasks that you see that we will need to work with? Maybe not just this year, but as they are knocking on our door.
For me, it's something about more openness into the spiritual world. Mm-hmm. I think it must be about the bridge between the material and the spiritual. And I felt it really much. I don't know exactly what day, but you talked about the angels. And for me, it has always been a concept. But now I can feel how important it feels for me, and I suppose also for the collective to connect more with the spiritual world. Mm. And for me, when you trust in this, it all your past is much easier to not judge your past and learn from it, and yes, all the things. So yeah, I feel that this is important.
I don't really have anything to add to this. But it's not just to better understand your past. It's to overcome the fears of the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Annette, you nailed it. Yeah, to open ourselves up. Yeah, for these spiritual aspects within ourselves. It's not just some like other religion or some fad sort of activism or anything like that. It is the process of better understanding where you are from and where you're going. Because if we think about it, all this negativity, this pessimism, this lostness, the emptiness that people are experiencing right now has to do with not understanding sort of what their task, what their purpose is. And purpose can often only be found if we go into the track record, where all this is coming from, what all this is about, what we are aligning to here by being here. If we only look at the material, life doesn't make sense. If we only look at the spiritual, life also doesn't make sense. It is the bridge. It is the bringing the two together within ourselves, the uniting of the polarities within. If you want to call the physical and the spiritual a polarity within, these two different realities that we are now about to not just unify, but really populate within ourselves, waking up to and arriving in it as our new home, as our new honing signal, so to speak. We are awakening to the true nature of who we are when we build this bridge between the spiritual and the material, or the material and the spiritual. Some of us come from the spiritual and have to learn how to materialize their spirituality. And some of us, most of us, our collective now as a whole, in a much slower process, of course, comes from the material and needs to learn to spiritualize this. I mean, this was just sort of reiterating what you just said. Thank you so much for this. It's always so much powerful when you guys say this. Because, Annette, with you, I know that when you say this, you have experienced this. You have internalized this. This is not just repeating a few phrases that you've heard somewhere to sound cool or sound smart or spiritual. It's internalized, and that has a huge power. I don't know if you can already feel this. Just listening to Linda and Annette has a huge power, guys. Because it's coming from within yourself. It is your way of contextualizing reality. And I would love to hear more from you here in the course of this lecture, this event, this interactive event together with you guys. But I want to take out a little bit of the the mental pressure here. Yeah, what is here? What is it that we are looking at that is coming in? What did I call the final battle? Yeah, what am I referring to? So I'm clearly referring to the years of transformation. Yeah, these active years, this final battle, yeah, of untruth versus truth, the peak of materialism, started in 2020. And the years of transformation that we are in now, they last until the end of 2026 and usher sort of a new reality, one that you can see here, titled A New Order. Yeah? The downfall of untruth. The victory of our consciousness, of our ability to discern truth over manipulation, control, and deception. Now, I am reflecting the spiritual processes that will determine our outer physical, I guess what you would call current events. These spiritual processes occur prior to their physical manifestation. It's the reason why people like myself and yourself can pick up on this years ahead of time. Now, the first time I reported about these years of transformation was, I think, in 2014. So it's not really anything that comes in the future. It is something that is already there. And when you can see that through your own perception, you learn to process truth in a new way. You realize that, whitewashing it or lying about it or, sort of fantasizing about a different truth isn't really going to make a difference. You realize how much of a waste of time that is. It's only our ego that wants to hold on to the old ways, if you will, or in a lot of cases, it's really just not wanting change out of fear what this change would entail. But if you immerse yourself into these different processes that just simply have to happen in the evolutionary development of our journey, just like when you watch a newborn grow up, starting to learn to walk and to talk and to develop its ego and explore the world and immerse in all the external impulses, to learn the alphabet of communication and social rules, reading and writing, peer pressure, the need to individualize, the need to individuate, to break free from the parents, from the nuclear family, into a young adult, into, the awareness that adulthood is nothing but claiming one's own self-identity, to then maturing it, perhaps finding a mission in life, finding a partner, maybe procreating and engaging in this sort of co-creative process of life through parenthood or through activism, through a mission into wisdom, into a later age of high levels of integrity and wisdom and legacy. You know, if we look at time in the same way that we can look at how we as individual humans go through these different stages, it's a lot easier for us to understand what comes next or what has to come next. It's obviously slightly different for every person, and we don't all go through the same processes at the same time, of course. And neither does our collective. It doesn't go in sort of a programmed way like a machine. Yeah, can you imagine what it will take for us humans to grow into a higher level of discernment, a higher level of consciousness? Those are huge developments. And this time that we have chosen to incarnate in is very special in this way, because we are literally witnessing the birth of a higher consciousness within ourselves and our entire collective in real time. And this has never been there before. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of how big these processes, these evolutionary steps that we are going right now, how big they are. We are indeed witnessing a new future for humanity. And so when we perhaps look back at 2025, we'll see that this year, after these 4 years of walking through the mud of untruths and media wars and political fights and back and forth, wars for no reason, mind control and deception, we'll realize that 2025 was where the light bulb went on, where we finally, as a consequence of this confrontation with untruth that was, or is becoming so obvious now, that even the most asleep people begin to feel it. As a consequence of the confrontation with untruth, we are now waking up. And we'll look back at 2025 and we'll say, yeah, I remember this year. Just like how we look back maybe at 2001, 9/11, or look back at the end of the Second World War, 1945. You know what I mean? There will be these benchmarks of human collective evolution, and we are part of this. We're part of this right now. So 10 years ago, I called 2025 the year of reorder, in which we form new alliances. I talked about this again when I analyzed the years until 2027. This is on my channel there. You can look this up. And I also reiterated about this last year when I again looked at what is coming after 2027. And now in 2025, we are finally here. All right, we are now at a place where we are consciously feeling the call, the cue, the ping to tune in with cosmic intelligence, to awaken, all right, these spiritual senses and organs that lie dormant in us, to finally use them, to work with them. So for January 2025, I have picked the alignment that I wrote for you called Cosmic Intelligence. By the way, you can listen to all my 5-minute and 20-minute free meditations on SoundCloud. Yes, they're always there for you. You can stream them there, and some you can even download. Cosmic intelligence, and that is not just the alignment for January, it is the alignment for the entire year of 2025. Why? Because right here, right now, right in these days, as we are talking right now, this collective karma is unlocking. We will see all themes of 2025, 2026 unfold in January. And we will later see, we'll revisit it, we'll have chances to review and refine, but it is right now all the stuff that is going on within you and within the collective, all right, that is giving you a preview for the entire year. And last year I talked about the importance of truth. Obviously, since I have been talking about the confrontation with untruth as sort of the tool for our awakening, for our collective awakening. And this year, we will continue the refinement of being able to feel truth within ourselves. You guys know this. We work on this every month with the connecting with our true self. It's nothing really but training ourselves to discern truth. In 2025, we will learn to apply this. We call this discernment. So the ability to feel when something is not true to us, and the power, the will, the courage to stand with it. Many of us could already practice that in the years of 2020, 21, 22, 23. You guys all know what I'm talking about. Now is the practical application in all areas of your life. And for that, we need to open up the spiritual senses and organs in us. Because the part in us with which we identify the mind, our thinking processes, are under heavy attack. I talk about the attack of the war on our concentration. I talk about mind control. There's like almost 1,000 videos here on my YouTube channel where you can tune into this and listen to the deeper aspects of this, how this occurs, what the mechanisms are, how this actually happens, that we can be deceived, that we can be misled, even though we think that we are so clear, that something is so logic. The way that happens is because if your insight, if your logic, is manipulated, you will not be able to know if it's true or not until you feel it, until you know it through your own internalized experience. And so here a quote from Dr. Hawkins, one of my teachers: truth is verifiable only by identity, only from within yourself. Only by identity with it, and not by knowing about it. You have to know truth. You have to know what it feels like within yourself to be able to pierce through the ADHD-ness, the cognitive dissonances, the polarities and the schisms of your own ego mind. And that can only happen through spiritual investigation, through learning the science of spirit, how that actually works in you. This is an actual science. We call this spiritual science. And most of you know this, I entered my life's journey as a nature scientist, as someone who studied chemistry and biology, only to find that there is a different, a higher science that is needed to fully understand the cosmic intelligence that has brought all that into existence that we are dealing with here in our material world. So nature science, I still love nature science, helps us to understand the mechanisms of how things work in the material. But nature science cannot explain to us why it exists. What the purpose of it is. That is discernment. And that needs to be learned. That needs to be trained. Just like how we need to learn the alphabet of our language. We need to learn the alphabet of spirit, as Rudolf Steiner calls it. We need to build spiritual literacy. We can't just do it via our intuition, our inspiration, and our imagination. We have to understand the laws and the mechanisms underneath materialization through spirit. And that is basically the task for us here as a collective, seen from a spiritual, scientific point of view. Our task is to usher the time or the developmental stage of spiritualization of the material. I have a workshop series here on YouTube called Etherization. It has like 7 or 8 workshops, 15 hours or so, talking about what this means. It's a complete and entire reorder of our material world, of our understanding of nature. And luckily we have all these ancient spiritual teachers and writings that have already discovered these laws and these mechanisms 10,000 years ago. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. We just have to filter out the overlay of a spiritual or material thinking. The overlay of, these adversarial aspects of standing in it. Our delusions, our illusions. They make it harder for us to observe spirit in an objective way. Yes, you've heard me. You've heard me correctly. It is possible to observe spirit in an objective way. But the tricky part is it needs to happen through our own inner light. It needs to happen through our own subjective experience. And now all of you who have studied science in school will say this is not possible. Scientific method means that you stay objective and exclude the inner experience. Well, that is exactly what needs to change. It is possible to observe spirit objectively through our inner experience of it. And that is basically the future of our human consciousness development. We have this part in us. Yes, and we call this discernment. We have this part in us that allows us to know when something is off the light, off truth or not. And here, you see, I call this the spiritualization of the material. It's a very scientific sort of way of saying nothing different than actually diving in, learning, internalizing, and then, bringing it into our practical lives. What the spiritual biography informs us about our personal life, be it the material, the physical aspect of our personal life, or our spiritual development. In this lifetime, and then later we learn that this spans through many different lifetimes, our spiritual biography entails all of the spiritual truths that we are about to learn. And so if we look at the collective, we can do the same thing. We can look at the history of human soul development or collective consciousness development, and we'll recognize the different phases here that humanity has gone through. And we can see that what needs to happen next is basically the spiritualization of our materialism. We have to move back, or let's say it this way, the only way for us to evolve now out of this peak of materialism is to inhale, to infuse spirit into matter. Spirit into matter. With this forecast, I want to present here just sort of cornerstones of this development here in 2025 from a spiritual, scientific point of view, and ask you, as these spirit beings that are on their journey, developing discernment, what it is that you are feeling from within your inner experience. What are some things that you are seeing as these collective themes unraveling in 2025?
Hi, Jona. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Just one thing, a few come to mind or to my awareness right now is overall, people may start believing their own precognitions and making discernment. There might be a wider majority of people who are understanding themselves and that are able to discern like a dream from a vision and those sort of things. Like I had a precognition. These dreams, these last few days, you're absolutely correct, have been very, very active. And even this morning, I wasn't able to discern, like, did I dream that my cat was out on the sidewalk, or is she actually out on the sidewalk? And she was someplace she never, she hasn't gotten to. And this morning, I couldn't find her, and I was like, is she on the sidewalk, or was it a dream? And there she was. So some of those things are more open, and if people like always, like it's always been on the spiritual journey, you're just listening and not distracted, then this information can come and it can be integrated into life. So perhaps more people are at this time and moving forward believing that and living their life with that more integrated.
Yeah, I mean, this is for many of us who have been on this spiritual journey for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Yeah, and having been shunned, having been called names, traumatized, and so forth. This is a big statement, Janet. Okay? Yeah, because you are part of this same group of people like myself who had a really early access to their inner spirituality, but really no outer support. Okay, and is what you're saying right now, is this also linked to that you are starting to feel more comfortable as a spiritual person?
No, I mean, I don't really hang around anybody. I might as well be up on that mountain. I have been up on that mountain. I've been in the meditation on a mountain with the monks, and it's good practice, though.
But are you feeling that this is a collective movement now?
Yes.
That people are waking
Well, the
up?
only reason of course, it's still waking up, but over the last couple years, this is a bit of consolidation that I've seen certain groups of people who I've observed that seems like they're getting it at least kind of the way we're discussing here. Like there's a scientist and she works with precognition.
So what you're saying is that you can see how nature science and spiritual science are starting to merge together. Precognition is a word that I used to use as well because it was the most scientific way for me to explain what visions are, or intuition, inspiration, imagination. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so this is one example of something that I was working with a little bit more too, because scientifically, but the key to me was that it was something that's natural.
This sort of bridge, this is a bridge that some people like myself and so many others trying to build, okay, away from the woo-woo, away from, the sort of the people making stuff up or people channeling something, okay? They're trying to show that what I said earlier, that these spiritual senses and organs, that they lie dormant in us and that we can train them, that we can systematically train them. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of this. This is why my efforts are always sort of in trying to bring structure in this and forming pathways for everybody to walk the same steps. To walk the same steps, be it that it depends on their inner experience, which can mean that they might walk these steps in a different timeline or in a different time frame than others, okay? But that they can all arrive at a place of being able to tune in to these inner spiritual organs and senses. It's just like teaching a language. So I hear what you're saying, Janet, and you'll be happy to hear that this is actually now even going a step beyond that. So there has been, and this is probably also here appropriate to mention, like a big sort of adversarial counterforce that comes in with, people awakening spiritually, and that, it is the untruth, it is the unfreedom, the unlove, sort of personified as dark forces, okay? But it is fundamentally the materialization of spirit, and that is, in my view, the biggest challenge for all of us, and this is something we need to be careful with, especially if we have been around for a long time. Yeah, if we have been traumatized, say, due to us sort of not being able to fully articulate or finding the right way to express how, our spiritual inner life works. Yeah, the materialization of spirituality, the danger in that is that we're trying to prove something scientifically, nature scientifically, all right, that is greater than nature science. This is a big problem. And you might have all felt this here and there, that you feel much more comfortable talking about spirituality, especially your spirituality, if you can use scientific terms. Do you guys all know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Well, if we can cite studies, if we can show that human consciousness actually exists and that it can be measured and that it can be seen on some kind of plasma, X-ray thing, and this is the wrong exit, guys. Stop trying to materialize spirituality. It's the same as focusing or fixating on proving that Jesus existed as a historical figure. You profane it by materializing it. And materializing means making it fit into the current scientific paradigm. The evolution, the growth that is occurring, that must occur now, is that the scientific paradigm opens up. Not that we are taking, greater topics and trying to squeeze them into a restricted paradigm. That is darkness, guys. That is right now in this world the biggest darkness, is that all of these spiritual themes and topics are being boiled down, okay, to some kind of either alien or space religion or consciousness science or you name it. That's darkness. That is not the right way, guys. This is what we need to learn to discern. It's the other way around. We need to spiritualize the material. We need to infuse it with the warmth. Light with no warmth isn't going to get us there. And warmth without light isn't going to get us there either. Discernment of truth, which is basically wisdom, but wisdom on a higher level. Yeah, with the support of the spirit of truth, that comes through the fusion of light and warmth. Warmth, meaning you are feeling it from within, you are knowing it from within. And light, you are understanding it through your own free thinking. So this is not a criticism. It is basically something that we will encounter here in these next years. The profaning of spirituality. through materializing it. This is a huge topic, and we'll probably have to talk about this a lot here in the next years. I've already talked a lot about this. Yeah, electrification and etherization, these two big streams that we need to learn to navigate via discernment. Yeah, it is sort of a cue for you to better understand what it actually is when we talk about awakening. When you applied this, for example, to one of the big societal challenges that we can all see, I'm surprised nobody mentioned this yet, yeah, the artificial intelligence, the dangers of transhumanism, the dangers of, making us believe that if we use artificial intelligence that clearly helps us to make our life easier, that can clearly be seen as a technological progress in some ways. But if we start believing that it can actually bring us closer to God or can connect us with spirit, like I see so much in people that they are craving for connecting with spirituality, yeah, by connecting with some kind of pill or machine or contraption, yeah, or even ritual that can get them there faster. Can you see the danger in that? Can you see how that is sort of the direct expression of the dark forces now going right after the emerging, the awakening spirituality in people, by making them believe that it has to be through the material that they can get to spirit. The big challenge for humanity So the biggest temptation for us here in these years to come is the temptation, again, of trying to connect with cosmic intelligence through a shortcut, without having to do the work, without engaging in this spiritual biography of yourself, without respecting and honoring the karma of yourself, the promise to your higher self, the promise to the divine, and also the karma of the human collective, the karma of the planet Earth and the solar system, without actually understanding the spiritual forces that are involved in that process. And this is also why it is so hard for many of us to understand why there has to be so much tragedy, why there has to be wars and suffering and all these nasty things, that we are uncovering. Well, guys, spirituality doesn't mean to give you a way out so you don't have to face these things. That is not how this works. That is not how we are evolving. The truth is, these things are all there. Everything that is there, be it, these terrible things that are happening in our politics, in our economy, in our, world sort of social developments, they are all there. They are truths, whether we like them or not. Truth has nothing to do with sympathy or antipathy, whether we like it or not. Dealing with truth is the only way how we can learn to discern truth. And when I talk about spiritual biography, what I mean is that you have to actually investigate what is at work here. What are the forces, the spiritual forces at work here? Both, what supernatural and what supernatural, what forces of light and what forces of the darkness are at work here. To understand what your job is, your mission in all this, your task, why you came here in this time. And so 2025 is going to be a rough year for our collective, a roller coaster of the nth degree, because we're going to have to deal with untruth. That is what confrontation with untruth means. And what is untruth? Untruth is nothing but the dark force that stands behind this. Yeah, the Lord of trickery and deception, if you will. Yeah, the forces that serve. Yeah, the adversarial part of our spiritual awakening, the counterforce. And that is a necessary part of our development, because without that confrontation, we would not learn that we are free, that we can choose. We would not be able to internalize what freedom means. So it isn't until you get forced to make a choice and then to follow through on that choice, and to learn that you can, to learn that you have a choice and that you must now actively make a choice. It isn't until then that you have internalized, that you can own freedom. And so it comes, and this is still a big challenge for most people, to wrap their minds around this. And so it comes that this confrontation with the dark forces, and there's more that can be said about this. I've recorded many videos here explaining the duality of darkness, the trinity of darkness, and sort of why it has to be there, how it serves us. It serves us to internalize our higher spiritual faculties, to fully realize what this co-creative power actually means, and what this ability to choose means, how powerful that is. That is, guys, just so you know, also part of the spiritual hierarchies, the supernatural hierarchies, and with it, the spiritual realms within ourselves. We are a new spiritual hierarchy, brand new spirit baby in the bigger scope of things, that represent the spirits of truth. This is why we're going through this. We, me, you, all of us, are contributing to the evolutionary development of the human spirit of truth. And all these other spiritual hierarchies that we have talked about that serve for preparation, that serve as these building blocks for the bridge between the spiritual and the material world. They allow us, they give us the gift to experience this consciously. Our job, guys, is to choose, to learn how to choose, because we have been given a gift, and that is freedom. And freedom, which is a daughter of truth, prepares the way to the next evolutionary stage, which is love. Love as the daughter of truth and freedom, developing the highest element of our divine nature in us. And this cannot be done without truth and without freedom. We have to want it. We have to willingly and actively engage in the process of not only seeking truth, but more importantly, discerning truth. And when we do, truth will set us free. Truth will set us free. So in other words, to really grow into our own spiritual power, we need to learn how to discern truth so that we can discover for ourselves this one spirit power that we have. Namely, to choose, to freely choose. That will then allow us to express our wisdom. My wisdom in my way. Away from organized religion, away from organized this or that. We no longer need this, guys. Because we can. Because we are now able to do this. Due to the power of consciousness, spiritual consciousness, cosmic intelligence working through us. So this is what we will see here for 2025 as basically the marching orders, in conjunction obviously with the practical training that is involved with this, which here you see this as a keyword, heart-mind coherence, working on bringing those two dualities, two polarities that form in this cognitive dissonance in us, that form this schism in us, to unify this via our heart and mind training. Discernment develops through connecting with your heart, through knowing the deepest inner desire and darkness. It is the pathway for understanding yourself, others, and the world around you, and ultimately the divinity. Our job is to stop thinking in black and white terms, because that binds us to the duality of materialism, of the 3D. And instead to realize that we have the ability to stand in the middle, to witness all that is happening around us with discernment. And in order to become able to do that, we have to, of course, train this, because we are not born with this awareness. We are born with the potential ability. And the only thing, though, that we get for free is our ego, our conscious awareness, our I awareness. We need to work for, we need to actively work for, and we do this through these spiritual, these contemplative, these self-reflective routines in our life. And this is not a comfortable process. Especially in 2025, we will have to work with these unloved parts in us. Yeah, these parts in us that we still resist to accept as truth. Yeah, also called or also known as our shadow self. Yeah, we have to learn that accepting your shadow, working with your shadow, and integrating it is ultimately working with truth. That's why I call my biggest and also most known modality connecting with your true self. Yeah, to practice applying truth to yourself, and this will then allow you to be free. Because when you resist truth within yourself, it binds you. It makes you unfree. So until you are willing to embrace the things that you cannot love about yourself yet, okay? Yeah, you will fight it. You will fight truth with tooth and nail. And unconsciously feed and play into these forces of darkness. So here you see all these slides, that come out of this regular work, these routines, cultivating no fear. Yeah. The 7 commitments for building a bridge between the material and spiritual reality, and experiencing my own divine nature. And then ultimately the disciplines of discernment and the 6 basic exercises. Those are things that we need to agree to actively working through. Because this is where the main growth will appear. Yeah? And when I say growth, what I am talking about is freedom. The ability, or becoming aware of this ability in you, that you can freely choose. That you can say no. Or that you can call out the lie. And you can say, no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel true. Or going into a deeper spiritual understanding of the world, that you can name and discern the forces at work with any particular topic in your life, be it in your relationship, be it with yourself, be it with your boss, or with the collective or the economy or whatever. Yeah, that you begin to see the world in a new way. You begin to see the spiritual process underneath all of that you're experiencing. And therefore, understand what is missing, what is needed, what needs to be chosen. So to not go too deep into this, into the rabbit hole, all right, I think I've sort of covered quite a big range already, and I want to let you go now. I would summarize my sort of inspiration for 2025 here with try something new. Heart without mind doesn't work. Mind without heart doesn't work. Only spiritual doesn't work. Only material doesn't work. Try something new. And in that finding new ways, you are tuning into this ability to make a choice on your own. What is coming our way, and you saw these important dates here in the beginning. I didn't want to go any further into this, but this is basically the month by month sort of challenge or shifts that we will see here beginning with January. Yeah, the collective karma unlocks. Watch it, guys. Watch it, what is happening here in these next 3 weeks. With February, we will get the first taste of what this economic roller coaster that will accompany us all year 2025 will look like, with new highs and new lows. 2025 will be the year of records, of extremes. Then in March we can look at major events unfolding in politics toward the end of the month, reaching into 2026. This reordering of things, this new structure that is forming. It is not done yet. It has only just begun. All right, so we will watch these events, and the dark, the old, is not going to go voluntarily, guys. There is a huge battle going on right now, and that will express in the material. Yeah, I see April as the most critical month for that. Yeah, as sort of explosive events of the magnitude of, say, the first nuclear bomb or September 11th. That's how big that is. Yeah, what is coming right now. And we don't need to be afraid of this at all, because we understand why it has to happen. Yeah, the old has to go. This is a spiritual war that is being fought out through each and every one of us, in our minds, in our hearts, in our souls. And our job is to recognize that, is to claim our own spiritual ID. And identity is a big part here of these next 2 years. Yeah, I've already talked about this in the past for the last 10 years. There will be new players in this field of trying to make us all become sort of world citizens. New technologies that are evolving right now in light speed. So you will see that there are big changes out there on the front of who are going to be the leaders in this tech war. Yeah, that is starting this year. Tech war. And there will be new alliances. We'll see this in June, yeah, I've been announcing this for a few years now, alliances that you can not yet imagine. Yeah. But not just on the political level, but also within ourselves. We also realize now that we cannot just do this on our own. We cannot just sort of, work on our spiritual stuff and our identity and then, go to the mountaintop and not participate. This is about us individuating as a spirit self and then coming back in with our rendering, with our wisdom, and bringing it back into the collective, if you will. Yeah, and that too is a new alliance. That too has to happen within ourselves from our own choosing. And then we will see that there is a growth that can occur through us working together, through us collaborating. Yeah, so this summer is going to be a hot summer here in that regard. And there's going to be a lot of stuff going down here, especially in regards to this technological revolution. Yeah, exponential. And it will be fed, like basically instigated or exacerbated through the money that is being made with war and this new tech war. Yeah, we have to witness that, only to realize that it makes no sense. Yeah, that this is not the way to go. Yeah, fear, anger, and doubt, they lead to war. Truth, wisdom, discernment leads to peace. And so it isn't really until probably the September time, so now we're far out here, that these deeper insights can really sort of find a home with our collective. And where sort of a new way of thinking allows us to come up with new insights and new resolutions. And the interesting thing is that when I looked at the year from this, from within my spiritual sight, I noticed a pattern, and that is a new pattern. It used to be the full moons of the months that kind of created sort of a peak in this collective energy. You know that I do these month-by-month calendars, day by day, collective energies, the rise and fall of that. And there's a new pattern. It started already, actually, but it will really show in the months September, October, November, and December, and that is that we no longer have this peak of collective dense energies around the full moons, but the new moons now. So these last 3 months of the year, they will unfold sort of their most intense lesson around the new moons, which is another indicator for us that there is sort of this renewal energy going on. It needs that will, that power, to turn ideas into action. And then in October we will be able to revisit all this, what has come forward here in these first months, review it, and look at what was it there in January that unfolded. I mean, we know already this has been going on, the revolution of truth. New shocking truths. Guys, it's not going to end. It has only just begun that people are waking up to truth. Now we have to learn how to deal with truth. That's much harder. Yeah. And so it isn't until November and December that we can sort of begin to see the fruits, yeah, of this labor, yeah, that we begin to see people actually now starting to make new choices. New choices in regards to their own health and the health industry and the sickness industry that's, that we all complain about, but also, yeah, the clarity that is needed to realize what truly matters for our life and what truly matters for our journey. So with that, I would like to close, yeah, by wishing you, yeah, a blessed hero's journey through this very, very challenging year of 2025, groundbreaking, yeah, and in that, bestowing us with the gift of higher consciousness. If you are interested in engaging, yeah, with this ongoing, healing and consciousness work, then check out my community here, yeah, and the programs around this community, the Energy Training Club, the Soul Self Spiritual Initiation Program, and now new also the Spiritual Biography Program. Those are programs that are ongoing, yeah, and last but not least, our beautiful Daily Sacred Self community here on Skype, free for everyone, yeah, discussing, immersing, connecting, yeah, with other spiritual truth seekers, yeah, every day. So yes, please do not be afraid. Yeah, you are only afraid when you cannot see truth. But seeing truth doesn't mean that you like it. So, whenever you feel fear or powerless creeping in, remind yourself, the strongest power in you is the power to see truth. You don't have to like it. You just have to see it and work with it actively. Not shoving it away, not trying to superimpose some better truth, some fantasy over it, or avoiding, it altogether, but actively working with it is what? Or is the power that will help you to get through this. And with it, yeah, all these spiritual hierarchies, these spiritual forces of light that are watching you, that have dedicated their energy, their love to us, growing into this new spiritual hierarchy being, yeah, through our physical experience of our higher self here on this planet, in many different lifetimes. So I'm excited, yeah, to be your guide, to continue to help you navigate this, yeah. Here on this channel, I do this for free. If you would like to have more personal assistance, then contact me. If you would like to do this in a systematic way, check out the programs. And if you don't really know what to do, just come back tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, where we keep investigating the spiritual hierarchies together here, same place. I'm wishing you a wonderful 2025 and with lots of truth and lots of discernment and lots of love in your heart, lots of warmth in your heart that can turn this light, this knowledge into wisdom.